Hello, 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 hello. I'm Lynn Browder, and I have a son, Owen, who is 11 and has autism, and we paint together. He helps me paint the backgrounds of our paintings, working on his fine motor skills, and then I paint the rest. He has a hard time with like utensils and writing his name and things like that, buttoning, zipping, all of those types of skills with his hands. And so we started painting together, and I now I love it. I absolutely love it. I had never really painted before I started painting with him, and it was just more of a way to help him. And then I've realized now it's more about helping me. And it's been amazing to be able to share the journey with my son and to just kind of paint and have us do this together. But I realize so much that it's adding to me and being able to like help what I want to do, and just the input and the feelings and emotions from being able to do this with him just makes me happy. So I always say that I'm still learning and growing and figuring it out as I go along. So that's kind of where we're at. And I paint mostly flowers and animals and sometimes abstracts, but when I'm painting my flowers, a lot of times, first of all, I get lots of paint on my hands, but I generally use one brush and mix all the colors together, and that's the part that I kind of am always fascinated. I joke a lot that I like to watch paint dry, and that's really what I like to do. I like to watch paint dry, so I kind of learn what it does and how to work with it, and that's just like, it's fascinating to me. So that's what I do. I watch paint dry, and 90% of the time I have no rhyme or reason as to what I'm painting, where I'm painting it, how I'm painting. It just kind of gets on the canvas. And so that's where it is. And sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I have these interesting color choices or sections that don't quite go according to plan, but it's all okay. We just move, change, rejoice, and we just keep going. We keep going. I've been painting every day now for, I have to look the calendar and see, but it's been at least 4 years. I took a little bit of time off from posting, but I've been painting every day for over 4 years. My brother passed away, and when he did, I just kind of took some time off to just think. And then I was still painting, just not like what I was doing now. And then one day I just decided I needed to start posting and painting and sharing again. So here I am. And that's been that in itself has been in a completely different journey than the one that I usually talk about with my son. And we all have a story to tell, and some of us, it just keeps changing as we go along. So that's where I'm at with my brother. It's a very emotional. I never imagined that my rock would be gone, but he is. He is. So, we learn, we love, we grow, and not necessarily in that order, and not always those particular things. But it's okay. We, share our lives. We keep building through our emotions and see where it leads. I really enjoy paint drying. I keep thinking about that. Telling the story of what's on there. I started doing magnets and jewelry. I don't have any of the jewelry next to me, but I started doing these are paint blobs, as that's what I'm calling them. This is a magnet, but when I'm done with my paint, I've been putting them on wax type paper, and when I'm done with my paint, I spread it all out so that I can make these paint blobs. And they're making me quite happy. And so I just take the paint and make them into those little designs, and there you go. Oh, see, this happens a lot. If you have watched any of mine, this wasn't quite what I was gonna do, but it's all okay. So we just adjust. Sometimes I splatter paint all over the canvas anyway, so that might be what we do tonight. I don't know. My problem is I generally put way too much paint on my paintbrush, and that's what happens when that but again, it's just part of the process. It's a part of how I paint. So yeah, it's gonna happen. It's totally and completely gonna happen. And so we just keep going. And when I have a specific thing that I'm making, I try, that's the big word, I try to be a little more cautious, I guess is the right word, with the paint and what I'm doing. But I still I live outside the lines. So we just go for it. Whatever happens, happens. And this is truly not where I was even remotely gonna go with this tonight. I had this I mean similar, but not what I was really thinking was gonna happen. But that's okay too. We just keep changing it as we go along and get there when we get there. I never know when it's done until it's done. And then 9 times out of 10, I will still go and add another random flower or something somewhere. And that happens a lot. So in this little bunch right here, this lemony yellow, and then in the center right there, and actually some of that part, this is a neon, and I love using the neons in my paintings. Let's see if I have one really close, not hit the in up here that has some of the neons, and then over here they shine a little bit differently when you look at them, and so oops, I hope I didn't hit I think I did. They shine a little bit differently when they dry, and that's all part of that paint drying fascination. Oh, I laugh at myself a lot because it's funny to me that I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'll walk by the paintings when they're drying to just see what's happening with them, what is going on, and what I can kind of work on or change or look at. And I really don't know how that has taken place, but that's where I'm at. So, and you know, when you are just kind of self-taught, I don't know if anybody else, it's everything's amusing to me when I'm like learning all of this stuff, because you know, some paint, I have more problems with yellows than any other of the paints. They just never seem to fill in correctly, and there's, you know, tricks that you can add certain things to it, but I just kind of keep going. And like I said earlier, I have so much paint sometimes on my paintbrush that it does what it does as well, and so that can cause myself some problems. And I'm kind of I'm baffling myself because this was totally not what I had planned. Not that I completely had a plan, but I had some other like shapes and things gonna happen, and that is not where it's at tonight, which again is a-okay. We just keep going with what we go. So today was Owen's last day of summer school, and so that was kind of hard for him because he doesn't really like change, and you know, not going to school is a huge change for him, and he thrives in the routine, and he really loves school, and he loves learning, and loves, you know, his teacher and the aides and just all of it. He loves all of it. And so he came home from school, and that was kind of hard for him to think about not being in school the rest of the summer. So we went over his schedule multiple times, and I have a hard time getting him to actually like look at a calendar or accept any type of like visual calendar. Those are all really hard for him. And so that's one of the things I'd like to work on this summer with him is trying to get him to understand how a schedule could help him. It's amazing how much he really knows without knowing or having a calendar. It always amazes me. Like, he knows the days of the week. Very few times does he ever get flustered on a day. Now, he will purposely say the wrong days or say the wrong time frame, but there are very few times that he's actually really thinking that it's not a particular day, like that he's off on any of his days. And so trying to get him to use some type of manual schedule or way of doing something, that's always been my challenge. And so hopefully this summer I can kind of figure out some way to kind of put it into perspective for him. So we shall see. But hopefully it will make a little more, I don't want to say make it more sense, because like I said, he understands so much about timing. So it's not even a matter of, it's just kind of getting it where it works for him. I'm not sure. But when the weather is warmer or the humidity is different, my paints are constantly drying differently. So as I said, I'm looking at how they're drying right now. I always sign O for Owen, and then L and B. And the signature is just as much about our story as the painting itself, because he's the foundation of why I paint. He's the reason I paint. And so he is part of it, and it's just, that's the way I tell our story, is through the colors, through the things that we have here. So I had a different board underneath here, and I changed it recently, and this one, it lays flatter, but it won't open up enough for me, and I like the width of it, but I've got to make it a little bit more stable, because I don't know if you could see it in the video, but it moves a lot now. And so I need to work on that to get it a little more flexible, or not flexible, I suppose. Well, I guess in some ways it would be a little more flexible, because I'd like it angled just a little bit more. But like I said, it teeter-totters, so who knows? Who knows what will happen? But sometimes this is all about guessing what a flower will look like. Okay, so a lot of times it's all about guessing what a flower will look like with some other flower. And that's kind of what this is. We just throw it out there and hope it works. I think I'm almost about done. My eyes are telling me it's time for bed, so that's where I'm about at. I just wanted a little, and you see, since I do all these wild colors together, that I don't really ever change my brush and wear a lot of paint. I feel like I need one more something. Maybe I'll do it up here. That's where it's gonna end up. It might need some extra somethings. I try to kind of go back and add some depth to them, or, you know, more color or something. If you look at flowers out and about, even if it's all red, you know, it's got a little different something to it. I think I need a little more yellow fill in there to see if maybe it will stay. It dissipates. I don't know that that's the right technical term, but that's the technical term I'm gonna use. So I think I've got them all kind of lined up a little bit up there, but that's okay. That's okay. Maybe I'll add a little more, like, that works sometimes. You know, it's random. Random. There we go. So tomorrow is a big day for Owen. He goes to his grandma's, so he loves his Saturdays with grandma, and I'm hoping that he will sleep all night. So now this is what my paint looks like when I'm done. And so it almost, to me, this like over here looks like a little octopus start or something. I don't know. But this is the way I create the little paint blobs, as I'm calling them. I'm gonna figure a technical term or a better name or something, but for now, the little blobs. This then dries for a couple of days, and then I cut it into the little shapes for the magnets and the jewelry and the different things. So I'm adding some other colors, some other places. I kind of like this blue and red. But I used to have a beta fish. I think there's other names to him, but and he was this color. I called him Ion, and he was so pretty. I miss having fish. One day I'll have some again. I have cats, so it's kind of like, I know there's probably, tons of ways to work around that, but it's a lot to deal with. But anyways, those are paint blurbs. And so that is the paint. Oops, I hit the thing again. But thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. Toodles!